Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to be considering the Congregation Bible Study for the week of January 20th to 26th, 2025. So friends, we extend you a warm welcome. Thanks for joining us. And now let's jump right in. So for this week, we're in chapter 21, paragraphs 8 to 13, and the back's on page 169. And let's start with the subtheme. A plot was hatched against him, against the Apostle Paul. Okay, the question 8 and 9a reads, what interrupted Paul's plans to sail to Syria? And something unexpected happened. A group of Jews plotted against him. Of course, they had the worst intentions to Paul. Question B. Why might the Jews have harbored animosity toward Paul? First of all, they consider him to be an apostate. And we know they have this tradition, this custom to delete any apostate. And we don't apply literally this idea, this doctrine, but earlier in his ministry he had led to the conversion of Crispus, a prominent leader of the synagogue in Corinth. And in a different time, the Jews in Corinth had brought charges against Paul before Gallio, but was in vain because Gallio had dismissed those charges as baseless, a decision that infuriated Paul's enemies. So for these and many other reasons, they hate Paul. Let's discuss some lessons we learn from this account. As Christians, it's necessary good thinking in life. It's good to plan ahead, but we must be aware that unexpected situations can arise. Paul had a clear plan to travel to Jerusalem, but when faced with a threat, he adjusted his plans to protect himself and keep with his mission. Another comment, the conversion of Crispus, the synagogue leader, shows how the witness and life of a Christian can deeply influence others in a positive way. We must live in a way that our faith is evident and can inspire others. Number 10. Was it cowardly of Paul to avoid Cenchrea? And the answer is, of course not. It wasn't. In fact, Paul was someone who exercised good judgment. And this is really important and is a good example for us because he was not someone who was putting himself in danger or on purpose. For his safety and that of the funds, the money that had been entrusted to him, he decided to return to Macedonia instead of going to Cenchrea. Some lessons we learn from this event. Paul decided to change his route by land despite the risks, and this teaches us to be prudent and consider all available options in difficult situations. Another comment, Paul carried funds or money with him for the brothers in need, and this teaches us to be responsible and careful when managing resources, especially money resources in the congregation, making sure they arrive safely at their destination. And a third one, Paul went with the brothers, he didn't go alone. So, We can imitate him by avoiding isolating ourselves when preaching. We can support each other and face challenges together. 11. How do Christians today take reasonable measures to protect themselves, and what example did Jesus set in this regard? Christians today take measures to protect themselves while in the ministry. In some areas, they travel in groups or at least in pairs rather than alone, and Christians realize that persecution is inevitable. About our Lord Jesus, the Bible tells us that on one occasion, when opposers in Jerusalem began picking up stones to hurl at him, Jesus hid and went out of the temple. Later, when the Jews were plotting to kill him, Jesus no longer walked about publicly among the Jews, but he departed from there to the region near the wilderness. Jesus took reasonable measures to protect himself when doing so didn't conflict with God's will for him. So it's an interesting and good example for us to consider. And let's discuss some comments from the box 169. Some practical lessons, for example, as Christians, we must have a compassionate heart and be willing to help those in need, instead of turning a blind eye or being discompassionate or insensitive to the needs of others. Another comment, Paul showed great commitment by organizing collections to help the poor Christians in Jerusalem, and this teaches us the importance of being supportive and generous, especially to those who are experiencing or facing difficulties. We notice that he didn't say them they should seek first the kingdom and keep praying to Jehovah, and they shouldn't expect any help from him. He didn't say that. He was love in action. Paul gave clear instructions on how donations were to be collected and managed, and this highlights the importance of planning and transparency in managing money resources for the help in the congregation. Another lesson, despite adversity and danger, Paul persisted in his mission to help his brothers in need. His example encourages us to keep our Christian work, trusting that our actions make a positive difference. Okay, friends, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful day and hope to see you in our next broadcast. So, see you next time.